r/dead bedrooms. Piano Charge says, is a less than ideal frequency of sex a valid reason to threaten divorce and make other passive aggressive comments? Should I just call it out, saying that she's right, that we should get a divorce? Everything else in our relationship is otherwise fine, except when it comes to my sex drive. Over the past 5 or so years, my 42 ml sex drive has steadily declined. It was so slow that, for the first 1 to 2 of those 5 years, it was barely noticeable to me, that is. My wife, 46 FHL, on the other hand, has always been relatively high libido, and, if anything, has gotten more so over those 5 years. Eventually, she started mentioning how we seem to have sex less and less, and I would agree to that fact, and try to initiate more after such discussions. Sex barely ever crosses my mind anymore, though, much less the desire to do it. It's not a matter of inability on my part, and I do enjoy it when we do have sex, though it's not quite as personally fulfilling as it was in my younger years. It's more like something that I know needs doing, and I don't mind doing it, so I happily do so. If she asks or prompts me, I'm more than willing. The past year, though, she'll make these passive-aggressive comments more and more, such as, if we don't start having sex more, I swear I'll need to find something on the side. I feel like I'm more attached to my sex toys than to you. I really would hate to get a divorce, just because I'm only able to have sex like twice a month. Sometimes it's really hard not to cheat on you, etc. I understand how it can get frustrating always being one to initiate, but is it really that frustrating that you'd threaten divorce over it? I feel like calling her out and saying she's right, that we should get a divorce. I'm kind of tired of ignoring comments like that. Again, I'm not turned off by sex or trying to avoid it, just not really motivated by it anymore. Everything else is doing just fine overall between us, except for a very large difference in sex drive at this point. Throwaway 314 says, you write articulately and cogently. Sex barely ever crosses my mind anymore, though, much less the desire to do it. It's not a matter of inability on my part, and I do enjoy it when we do have sex, though it's not quite as personally fulfilling as it was in my younger years. It's more like something that I know needs doing, and I don't mind doing it, so I happily do so. If she asks or prompts me, I'm more than willing. You know that it's an issue for your wife, and has been for a number of years. If you had something that needed to be done regularly with work, or with friends, you'd put an entry in your diary, or calendar an appointment. Is there a reason that you don't for something that is clearly important to your wife? I understand how it can get frustrating always being one to initiate. I don't think you do. But is it really that frustrating that you'd threaten divorce over it? It evidently is to your wife. I feel like calling her out and saying she's right, that we should get a divorce. Courageous decision. Why do you think she's bluffing? I'm kind of tired of ignoring comments like that. I guess she's fairly tired of her sex life with a partner who isn't opposed to sex, but can't be bothered with her, but you do you. Pardon me French 78 says. Once more for the people in the back. Pardon me French 78 says. While I think she could choose better ways to communicate about this, yes. Lack of sex is a very valid reason to want to leave someone. It is an extremely important part of marriage, and when it's missing everything else crumbles eventually. Things are just fine for you because you aren't the person whose needs for intimacy aren't being met. Daroj says. It looks like she doesn't want a sexless relationship, and you don't want sex. This is fundamental incompatibility. If you're not open to compromise, divorce seems like the only option. Inky, 95 says. As a female in the same boat as your wife, I feel her pain. This is about way more than sex, or a lack thereof. Not being wanted by the person you love hurts like hell. It's very lonely not having that deep, loving connection. If you've switched off, she probably feels abandoned. Get your testosterone checked. Pornographic says, sex is a pillar of intimacy in marriage. Not many things remain stable when a leg is removed. Eachson says, you seem annoyed that she sees a problem where you don't see a problem. The problem doesn't feel acute to you because you are happy with things with way they are. There are no easy answers here. But to answer your direct question, it's pretty frustrating for a straight woman to be initiating sex with a straight man. Most of the time, straight women get chased by straight men. If your wife is even average attractiveness, she feels that attention nearly every time she leaves home. So having to reverse roles and ask for sex with the guy she married feels the same as he must not want me or he would be chasing me like those other guys. What do you think of her ideas? Are you cool with the idea of her saying yes to the guys who show interest in her without her having to do anything? r/dead bedrooms. Palm Tree Pineapple says, I, 27 HLF, took sex off the table part 2. When I told him I didn't want to have sex or think about sex anymore, he sent me a long letter with lots of promises that I don't believe hysterical bonding. I decided the best way for us to move on is a partnership without sex for the time being. We would spend time with each other with no sex at all. I sent him the new rules. 1. No cuddling or sexual touching, hugs and pet kisses are okay too. No sexual grabbing, he likes grabbing my boobs and ass. 3. No sex has upset, even though I pointed out that nothing has changed except for the no sexual touching. If he gets to control how he wants to be approached physically, then so can I. I've looked at many posts of HLS taking sex off the table and LLS freaking out, even though there wasn't any sex in the first place. Most of the rules I laid down already exist. There's no sex, no intimate touching, no kissing, and no cuddling. Has just upset I've called it out and codified it. West Coast Thing says, he's lost his control. I doubt he actually is concerned about the lack of affection. Pretensum 91 says, I'm planning to do the same with my low libido BF, as it's not fair that he is physical in other ways, i.e. hugs and kisses, pecks, but doesn't follow through with sex. It's like a cock tease in reverse. Sunlight 72 says, I think it's a clear move for your own subconscious mental health. Good job, it's you accepting what is real, so you can stop getting caught up in imaginary hopes and wondering what you are doing wrong or what you could do differently. Most likely nothing and nothing. Good job. Mick Jagger says, I asked my wife who used to refuse sex with me why did she care if I had sex with someone else if she didn't want to have sex with me. With regret she said, control. She then said it was akin to a kid with a toy they no longer wanted to play with. Didn't mean they were okay with others using their toy. Hysterical coupling is more often than not a panicked response to a change in the status quo. Perth Guy 999 says, when you stop chasing, you're giving yourself a break to slow down and look around and take stock of the relationship. He doesn't like that. Ferrouse Fellow says, some people are like cats and want access, but to never actually walk through the frickin' door. Gene Whitty says, are you planning to stay with him forever? Will you be able to accept this as a permanent situation? Or is he working on making changes? John Boy 43,214,321 says, if sex is off the table, does that imply that sex with others is okay? Playful Design 1999 says, they don't like us stating the obvious. 94 username underscore says, this is a good idea, I should do it too. r/dead bedrooms. Document Strong 7836 says, dreaded writing this. I, F, 41, have been married to my husband, M, 45, for over 15 years, together for at 20. We have a large family of happy, beautiful, and healthy kids. We have several very successful business ventures and we live a life I truly feel grateful for every single day. I adore my husband and pride myself on being a good mother, homemaker and wife. I take great pride in my appearance as well as the appearance of our home. I work out regularly as well as maintain my nails, hair, makeup, and dress nicely. Hoping this doesn't scream shallow, but I enjoy looking nice for him. I would describe our marriage as old-fashioned. I have always handled the cooking and cleaning / majority of child care, simply because he worked a ton of hours. He's always been a super involved dad when home, while he worked his butt off to financially provide for a one-income large family. I enjoy catering to my husband's needs and wants, and in turn, he has always put my happiness and pleasure above his own. I love this man with my whole heart. We've always had a very active and adventurous sex life. It slowed down a bit during pregnancy / breastfeeding, but we've always been extremely physical with one another. I have always really enjoyed giving him pleasure and often offered things, i.e. blowjobs, while he watches porn, a night of slowly edging him while he watches TV, him watching me, frick, myself, face, frick, I'm literally you name it, I've offered it, and we've done it. We always used to text each other various porn clips throughout the day. I would send him pics or videos of myself, often per his request and often just because I wanted to. Either way, they were always met with a very appreciative response as well as promises of what was to come that night. Moral of the story, we were very open and happy with each other sexually and had a very active sex life. Within the last year and a half everything has stopped. This has coincided with several stressful and life-changing events, which have since all settled. He has also been told by his primary physician that his testosterone levels are low. They have been low for over a year and continue to trend downwards. His desire to have sex with me is completely gone. He no longer requests pics or videos of me. If I send something, it usually doesn't even elicit a response. I've been turned down for sex, or even just a blowjob with zero expectations for reciprocation, more times than my ego cares to admit. It's to the point I don't feel comfortable asking him if he wants to have sex. I wait until he's asleep or has left for the day and take care of my needs solo. We went from 3 to 4 times per week to maybe once every 6 weeks. And when we do have sex, I wonder if he actually wants to have sex or simply feels obligated. The sex is nowhere like what it used to be in terms of length and variations. I'm utterly heartbroken and at a loss. I've brought it up so many times and my gut reaction after many conversations is he just doesn't seem bothered by the lack of intimacy anymore. It's killing me. I crave feeling the desire and affection of my husband, to simply feel wanted by this man that I would do anything for. Sorry for the word vomit, I'm at a loss. Anyone with similar experiences, especially pertaining to the low T. My fear in continuously bringing up the subject with him is that it will hurt his ego / manhood /c. I know this is a very touchy subject for some. Buccaneer 37N94W says, why in the wide world of sports doesn't he take care of his low T? That is an easy treatment and has a high success rate. Quiet Restaurant 576 says, that's wild to hear. You're a fantasy trophy wife which he's appreciated for years and not. I can imagine the emotions you're feeling and that he's feeling as well. As hard as it is, don't think the problem lies with you. Based on all that you shared, you are showing up like few women ever do. Definitely get his hormones dialed in so you two can get back to the magic you've enjoyed in the past. Bald Bulldog 1963 says, sounds like he does love you, but is sick from the low testosterone levels. I've used vitamins that naturally increase testosterone levels. He might be interested in trying them out. These vitamins made me rut more, and my mood became cheerful. Jenny Wang 2023 says, how low is his testosterone? My husband is at 500 and he doesn't have any sexual interest for years. He is in low T treatment now. I know several husbands of my friends suddenly lost sex interest, their T level dropped, usually at age 45 to 60, and has to be on treatment. Aquiamando88 says, I'm 35. I'm great shape. T was low for some reason. I inject myself 3x a week. I loved sex. Loved porn. Loved trick-eyeing. Lusted after my hot ass wife. Then over about 18 months, that just dried up. Within 4 weeks I was back to myself. Maybe better than ever. Tell your man to get with it. It's not hard. TechItRN says, he really needs to look into TRT. It has been a godsend for me at 51. My wife is very happy now and is probably having more sex than she imagined at our age. It was a 10-year process for me to get to this point. I had other issues to fix first, like losing weight and fixing my sleep apnea. I did all of those things and my testosterone was still low. Been on TRT for 5 months. Best decision I have ever made. Just wish I had done it sooner. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.